Okay, so today I'm going to be presenting on the big grotto project that we have that's mainly sponsored by the Northern Rocky Mountain Grotto here of the Bighorn and Horsethief Resurvey project here. So we've been going for about 2 years, so this is an update of where we are now. So overall, we're going to go over kind of where the cave is, our goals of the project, how we set it up, and where we are now, and where we're planning to go in the future. So this is actually one of the photos from one of the first trips here after we got out. You always got to love the Horsethief, you know, having all the dirt right around the nose and all that stuff from the crawl. So here, Horsethief and Bighorn, they are managed as two separate caves. They straddle the state line, and they're managed by two separate entities. So that makes it a little bit difficult if they were connected. There was a connection. They closed it up, and they're just managed as two separate. And then here it is up at like 4,800 feet, so it's a little bit lower cave. So it tends to be warmer, and also it's a drier cave because you're kind of up on this plateau, and the wind kind of blows the snow off, and it tends to be a drier area. Last time that this was surveyed, there's some people up for debate of the exact number, but the surveyed amount was about 14 to 16 miles in the past. So the cave is located basically south of Billings to the state line. Like the state line, as you can see right here, it bisects the cave. While we're up there, we have a good old armpit cabin. That was the old miners. That was actually the workshop building for the Titan mine. And we use that kind of as a shelter to get out of the rain or the wind while we're up there, and kind of use that as base camp. It's about like a 3-minute drive over from armpit to the cave. So it works out pretty well. So here in the past, I've actually used some of the photos from the old report that Daryl and some of the others put together here. So a little callback to the past. You can actually see Daryl here at the back of the table working on the old map here. And so back in the day, it was discovered back in 1961 by the Treasure State Speleological Society, which I believe turned into either the Shining Mountain Grotto or one of the other ones there. And then after it was discovered, its name kind of got out there that, oh, this is actually a major cave system. And so in 1969, the NSS convention was actually in Lovell. And there's kind of a story here to this. And so for Horsethief is really only believed to go like this far down on the map. In 1970, the story goes, Denise was sitting there having lunch at the back and felt a breeze. A little bit of investigation later, and boom, we discover all of that. So that was in 1970, so not overly too long ago. In 1970, the main connection, about kind of here, you can kind of see it here, that was concrete plugged. And that was done to mainly also protect Bighorn, because Bighorn has some gypsum formations and stuff like that, where Bighorn is a rappel in, and Horsethief is a walk-in entrance. So people would walk in Horsethief, go over to Bighorn, and some damage and stuff was happening. There was some ruffled feathers and stuff back then of, should we have done it, should we have not? You know, probably, in hindsight, yes, it was probably good because it does protect the cave. So with all that, you know, prestige of finding this big of a system and whatnot after, you know, the NSS convention and everything, in the early 1970s, they did gate Bighorn, but also after they started the survey project in 1983, it was deemed the cave is getting way too much impact and so much damage was happening. So the tribe that owns the Bighorn side in Montana, they kind of said, stop, we need to get a management plan. So the cave was closed for a few years while that management plan was created. And that's pretty much the management plan that we still sit on today. And so in the 1980s here is when the most recent survey effort of Bighorn happened. And they were focusing mainly on Bighorn, and that produced this map up here that kind of all of us know and use today. Horsethief myself, I haven't really had a lot of that history taught to me. Like, I'm not really actually sure who's produced that map, and so, but that's kind of one of the things here for why we want to resurvey, is that data has been kind of lost and divided amongst people in, you know, places that it's almost impossible to get it all back together again. And, you know, it's somebody did this, somebody did that. What is the quality of that data? You don't really know because it's been lost to history. So also now with distos and new technology, we're able to do it much more precise and much quicker with the new technology. So it's kind of that next generation it's worth redoing with the new technology. One of the great things about the timing of this project, coming out of COVID and everything, both Bighorn and Horsethief, yeah, Horsethief's a little bit more of a physical demand for getting in there and whatnot, but in general, it is a entry-level cave. It is a great cave to bring new people on, teach people skills, especially project caving skills, and bring everybody together, not just the InterMG, but regional grottos together. Like, we now have people coming up from Colorado that they're going to start sending people on a regular basis. We have a team wanting to come out in September from Oregon. So we're starting to get not just Montana together, but the region together on this project. And in the end, we're looking to produce that nice high quality map that we can use for years to come with the new technology and whatnot. And it's like the people in the past, yes, they kind of technology and whatnot, they had to cut corners. I mean, who wants to string that tape all the way down some crappy passage and, you know, get one shot for that little stretch that really doesn't go anywhere? Now just point, shoot, disto, click, done. You know, and just added like another 40 feet to the map. So we're able to do a whole lot more detail, in like some stuff on the map in the past was generalized or whatnot just because of the needs and, you know, the abilities back then, what you could do. Like, I know I've gotten into Bighorn, and I was like down by Frey's Fossils, moved up, we were trying to go up to the Witch's Finger, and I found myself in this huge dome room, and I see a few survey stations around, and I'm like, I know roughly where I am, but where is this on the map? Like, I'm missing this. So, you know, that was kind of one of my personal ones, was like, this may be time for a redo. So our project structure. So because we wanted this with such a regional influence and bringing so many people together, we set up a document for our standards. So anybody that comes on our project, it's on the project website. It gets into some nitty gritty for, you know, like the sketchers and stuff like that, but it provides them an information of, this is how we do things. This is what our cartographer and stuff expect. This is what our data handler expect. And so when we put that up front, it just puts everybody on the same playing field. And like, we put little cheat sheets in our sketchbooks and stuff like that. So if you forget about it in the cave, it's right there for you. And it just keeps everybody on the same page, and we know what to expect. And so of there as well, we put in stuff like, if you're new to the area or whatnot, like, hey, this is kind of the cave. This is what to expect of how we run our project weekends and stuff like that. And also, we've kind of done it with our partners, like the Bureau of Land Management. They got us the permit for Horsethief. And then we're working with the Crow Tribe right now for the Montana side. And then that area is owned by the Crow Tribe, but managed by the National Park Service under the Bighorn National Recreation Area. And then obviously, the Northern Rocky Mountain Grotto is kind of our main funder and kind of the main body that's putting it on. And here, kind of based upon those larger weekend trips, these standards are going to be a nice thing to come back to. And we're not necessarily rigid on those standards. Like, if somebody just comes up to us and goes, I want to do it this way, my response is going to be, well, why? Why do you think we should be doing it another way? Like, if you just say, oh, because I've done it this way, that's not really, you know, going to fly. Like, we want to think critically about how we're doing this project. Why is it going to benefit us? Because if we change everything every single trip, what's the point of having standards? So here, this is kind of some of the setup that we tested in my backyard here. But on project weekends, this is a 10 by 20 tent we got with the sides. We kind of just put it to the left side of armpit there. You can kind of see our little map there. And David made us some nice lights to put in there. We set up the fold-in tables, and entropy happens there of all the gear that we bring up. And people come in, we get them a little survey kit, and off they go. And it's kind of a nice little side area to reserve armpit as kind of because it's got the stove and whatnot for those colder weekends, to leave kind of that warm area for, hanging out in. And we got, I need to change this map a little bit to extend that dispersed camping area, because we're filling that already on most project weekends. But yeah, we just camp up there right around armpit. So here's just kind of a layout. One thing that we did for the project, and this is mainly on the Horsethief side, we kept basically all the main survey lines on Bighorn and preserved that history of what lines were named and stuff in the past. We did in our plan here add in like another one for G. We split one of these off from here to just kind of get some of the redundancy out from, some of this stuff was discovered, so they made it a 2-letter line name in the past because they just discovered it, they didn't know. So for us, we have the advantage, we know roughly what's there, so we can make that plan. Horsethief, though, however, with it kind of being much more that disjuncted survey effort, there wasn't really a line plan. So I know like Ian and I one night got on a call and we were just like, okay, let's get these letters down. Let's make this line plan. So we spent that night, we got the letters, we tried to match stuff up for like E for entrance, M for Montana maze, L for left hand space warp, stuff like that, like King Solomon's Mine with an S. So yeah, so we kind of try to pair those up with things that would be on that line, like D has the dinosaur back on it. So with that plan, it already actually, like before this project, I'd be like, oh, that area in the cave, like, yeah, it's kind of around there, kind of around here, you know what I'm talking about? And the person looks back at you with glazed eyes, even though they've been in the cave for, 10 times. Now we can just go, oh, the DF junction room. Oh, right at the start of the M line. It's already increasing vastly how easily we are able to communicate about the cave and just pinpoint and describe stuff. So here, typical project weekend, what we do is we open up a sign-up form, and there's a separate email list since we're multi-grotto project. The link is on the InterMG page if you want to join it. And it's just a Google form. It just collects the information that we need to give our partners for our permits that they just want to collect. And like the one for May is already open for May 20th weekend. So typically, right now we're running 2-day project weekends. As the project grows, those may increase to 3-day project weekends where we'll add on either a Friday, or if it's a holiday weekend, maybe add on the Monday. And so Friday, typically I'll take a short day from work. I have the ability, I can kind of stack my hours and get off early on Friday if I need. So I'll show up in kind of that afternoon, evening, kind of start setting up the camp, and people show up as well and get their tents all set up, and we'll use that time to either kind of calibrate distos or kind of just talk about plans for the next day. And if we already have teams, we'll get that gear checked out so they basically can get running right in the morning. Saturday, that's our really big day. So Horsethief does kind of require a bit of energy to do in a day. So that's our main focus day. That's where we'll go into the back and we'll get stuff done. Sunday, we'll take it a little bit easier. Just either, all of us want to get home at a decent hour on Sunday. It's the last day. We'll take a shorter trip. Like we're saving basically stuff up near the entrance for Sundays. So like you don't have to go do the entire Denise's crawl in a day, because we've already put in a hard day before. So up here is also like our all hands kind of every morning. We'll just kind of get together, kind of just go over a few safety items, things to know for the day. Some of the things that we'll do is like we've worked on kind of replacing those mats by Mindbender. But one of the big things is we produce this job sheet. So this job sheet here tells us, hey, this is what your main task is to do, like go survey this line. And like any side tasks, like if somebody forgot to mark a lead in the database or something like that, or hey, there's this little thing we need you to go take a picture of, like that'll be on there. So you have a reference of what we need to do. Then the other cool thing is right down here, this big blank section, that's where everybody in the project kind of gets to tell a story. What did they do? Hey, like I left this, or this was wonky. Like this is the notes to the cartographer, to the data processor, or like to that next team. It may not be you. Throw them a bone, give them a little note of what happened. So it's kind of cool already, like we post all those publicly in our Google Drive. Those are there for us to kind of be able to see that history of the project and see what the other team had to say. So here, our teams, we typically keep them 3 to 6 people. So we've kind of found, for us, actually a little bit larger of a survey team than your standard works pretty well, because we're doing like a lead database. We're doing kind of other stuff besides necessarily just survey. So we've found that sometimes like a 5-person team actually works pretty well, and we have a focus of teaching new skills. So that extra person, that person may be learning sketching. So, you know, they're not able, we want them to focus on learning, so we have that little bit of extra team and extra manpower so they have the time to do that. And one cool thing about our project is that we got some funding and stuff, so we actually have like all the gear. Like this is a partial gear bag that I have, but we have the survey books, we have the survey tape, the markers and everything, and we try to get it, we have a little checklist of everything that goes in there. But like these little survey pouches, I basically go, okay, here's your survey pouch, you're ready to go, and that's everything your team needs. So it's kind of a one-stop shop, just come in, check in, and you're ready to go. So here, kind of entering the cave here, and this one's gonna need to actually click. So we added these signs here. I was testing kind of either white was gonna be better or orange, which I know I caught you, Doug, on one of these. So the gate for Horsethief, we actually put a lockbox there with a combo, and the reason for that with the key inside is you may have a team enter late. You may have a team exit early. You need to have that key actually accessible from both sides, but still keep the gate locked when people aren't actively going through. So we put these little 3D printed tags on there that have your team number, and if you're the last tag off the line in the day, you can bring the lockbox out to the entrance. So we put these signs in the cave at points like slightly past the entrance. Hey, did you put your personal, you know, check-in, check-out board for, you know, every single person puts their name on the board. Did you do that? Did you leave your team tag at the gate? And it's a little bit beyond the gate, so you have that time to change in your brain from gate mentality to a little bit of caving. Then you see the reminder. Oh wait, did I actually do it? I mean, we've caught a person or two that then they got to go back the 1 minute and put their tag back on. So here in the entryway, like kind of sometimes in the morning, we'll be doing disto calibrations. And then the other big thing is kind of the Crow tribe. Like a lot of this is their land. And one of the requests that they've had us do is their heritage story is of the little people of the Prior Mountains. And their heritage is that they come from the caves, and like that is their domain. And it is something, you know, to be respectful and everything like that. It's a wonderful thing to do, is to kind of announce to them that, hey, we're coming in. We don't mean any harm. Like, just letting them know that we're there. So this is a video of Dustin doing that here that morning.
All right, Horsethief Cave. We're coming in to learn and to explore. We mean no harm to any occupants and or the space. And we only mean respect. And we hope that we have a good time and do not harm anything.
Yeah, so like we try to make sure at least that first team in every day does that. And already it's like we've sent some of those videos to the tribe already, and they're like, oh, that is amazing. Like, thank you so much for doing that. It means the world to them that we're doing that. And it's the least that we can do. Oh, it's just gonna click that again. We don't need that. Okay, so here, traveling to the work site. So we try to do this really fast and quick. Most of these are from Denise's crawl here. So that's the gypsum wall where you climb down. That's one of the very tight points down there in Denise's crawl with Dustin peering through. Then we got one of the other crawls, and then there's a lot of dust-covered gypsum in that area as well. So it's a bit tough, but we try to get through it quick so we can get to our work. Then once we get to our workstation, so we get into surveying. So we drill these stainless steel tags that are embossed with their station names beforehand. And actually now they have a little piece of reflective DOT tape on them. But we drill the station, hammer it in, and get it done. So I'm not gonna go too much into actual survey work because we have our survey clinics and stuff for that. But we'll also do side tasks. Like these were the wipe your shoe mats at Mindbender Pool. Let's see here. I think they've been there for about a year. It was 2 winters ago that we took it out on the last trip. I cleaned them out and we put them back in the spring. You can see the before and after, like after the pressure washer, quite a big difference. So here after a hard day's work here on Saturday, come out, share some memories kind of around, AKA the campfire, or basically around the circle. Finalize our paperwork, get that turned in, and of course, we're looking for food and probably a nice cold drink. So kind of call back to how the old project did it here. One of those art pieces from the old report is that they had people up there for like a full kitchen. And that, honestly, if somebody wants to start that for our project and I come out and there's a hot meal waiting for me, oh my God, you are my favorite person in the world at that moment. So even we have opportunities for that. If you don't want to go caving and all that, you just want to help out on the surface, we have so much that we can have help with here. So afterwards, get home, I got a stack of paper, I got some digital sketch stuff to do. It's always kind of fun to put the pieces together on the table. So I'll go through, check them, and just cross-check everything, get our volunteer hours recorded. And I really use a software called Cave where it allows you to make a really quick, nice working map. And it kind of warps all your sketches to your line plot data, and it's kind of really nice, quick, and easy to get that, hey, I almost need a working map for tomorrow. So here's kind of an overlay at one point with some of our work. We have some more done, but it kind of shows you what we did. And one thing that we do is that we have that lead database, Jot, that we use a program called Jot for. Unfortunately, as you can see my 1-star review here, they have a bug. It's kind of a bad bug. Is if you accidentally log out of that software on your phone, before it syncs to the internet, everything in your database that you did, bye-bye. So we're kind of going to try to work towards a new software, find a new software for that, but it's myself checking if all those are synced up, or if we lost those, okay, which ones do we need to go back and get? So here, this is fighting entropy. This is one of my personal goals to get better on the project. That's my car. It's about half full. I think that was coming back from, or going to a trip, and that was about half full with the project bins, project tent, everything. My car fills up remarkably fast. But then sometimes I had to throw a picture of Myrtle in here. This is when I went to David's house. I'm like, okay, I got to get everything from my house, go to somebody else, and we got to reorganize this. So we did this at the beginning of a year, and I had like 3 feet of survey tape on a roll, which is like, okay, that's useless. And Myrtle was sitting there, so I'm like, danger dog here, fragile dog. But yeah, no, like here, this I just took like this last weekend from, I pulled some stuff for AGM and whatnot, like, this is the entropy that happens, and I can get a lot better at that. So I try to get the project gears back. I try to do a bin for a weekend, and then like a master bin at home, but we'll have to revisit that a little bit. So here's some accomplishments already. We're already to over 2 miles on the survey here. So it's kind of already turned into a nice little tradition. When we hit a mile, we'll get kind of everybody that was there for that day or whatnot to kind of get together for a photo. And I think by the end, 20 of these photos or whatnot of each mile. I mean, you'll see us as we go down and be like, we're still doing this. But yeah, it's kind of cool to look back. In the first year, we hit a mile, and getting all the standards and project together, like, wow, like, it's a testament to what our grotto can do. Last year, we hit the second mile, and we've already completed 2 of our survey lines, 2 of our main survey lines. The whole entrance line, and then all the D line, which goes from the gypsum wall down to the crack where the water comes down. So far, we have marked 285 leads off of those main lines. Those are all ones that we get to go back to over the next coming years and check. But we have that database that takes a photo and everything, so we have all that information that we need to go back to it and hit it later when we kind of get some of these main lines done. So here in these near future, we're probably this next summer, we have a lot of main lines that are really close to done. So I see us getting those done. You can see the list right there. It's pretty healthy. Once that happens, we're actually going to be able to kind of start moving to our side passages. And for those, we're going to be using some vinyl tags and stuff like that. So we've done a trip or two with those. So we're still honing in that exact process, and we'll fully validate it, and then that opens up so much more work and even closer work to the entrance, because our main lines are starting to get pretty deep into the cave. So also one thing, like Doug gave a clinic this yesterday, is our digital sketch. Digital sketch is going to be able to make us go a lot faster. And we're just setting up the groundwork to make sure, again, those standards, we're all on the same page. We're all going to do it the same. So it's easy for our project managers to process and use that data. And as we go on here, increasing that participation is, as we get more of these permits and stuff, we'll have big weekends up there. I could see us possibly doing like a 4-day weekend, in a year or two, with all the interest that we're getting. And then here, so Bighorn, right now we still don't have the actual project permit. So one of the big things is Jason Forberg, our permitting lead, has been talking with the Crow tribe. Every single conversation that he has, he'll call me afterwards, and he's like, there's so much positivity. They want this and whatnot. It's just a timing thing. Is like their elders and whatnot, like they have some that have gone sick over the last year or whatnot. Some that are like, basically the Crow tribe is actually like, their science part of their tribe like goes and helps other tribes across the nation. So sometimes their elders are across the country helping other tribes and whatnot. So it's hard to nail down a meeting and whatnot. So we're kind of just waiting for those final meetings to hopefully just get that final green light. But we don't have the actual permit yet, but hopefully soon. It's just we don't have that time scale, and it's just kind of on their time and when we're able to get that done. And so yeah, just kind of a few pictures of Bighorn. But we do have actually kind of something here to announce. Jason has been doing a lot of work here, and we actually just yesterday got a very special permit that if you would have asked me a couple years ago, I would have been telling you you're dreaming. And it's a testament to all the work that we have done as a grotto. And we now have a permit to Titan Cave. And so the permit is very similar to our Horsethief one. The grotto has Titan keys now. So one of the things with that is the BLM wants Titan to kind of be a reward for doing stuff in Horsethief. We're still working out kind of the nitty-gritty details of it, of what's going to go, how you're going to be able to go in. We're going to have to do small trips. It's a very fragile, delicate cave. And one of the big things, main ticket item, is going to be like coming and participating in multiple project weekends with Horsethief. So like you kind of need to pay your dues in Horsethief to be able to get into Titan. But they want us to do a full resurvey of Titan. Like if they have closed areas in there, we'll be self-restricted on those, but we have the same thing as Horsethief. We can enter closed areas. They want it fully resurveyed to today's standards. And so like that final permit got signed yesterday. And like the BLM has been over the moon of the quality of work of our project, and other BLM offices have actually then come to them going, we've heard great work about this project. How are they doing it? So, what are their standards? But that's one of the main big things. So it's really pretty. These photos are actually from Jason. The BLM basically gave him a tour of Titan, and on this next project weekend, we're going to go ahead and kind of take a hand-picked group of our project management to kind of go do our own tour in there as a just a quantification of what do we need to do, how are we going to set this up, and make sure it's done right, and we preserve the cave. So, again, I would have never imagined we would have gotten this permit. In Titan Cave, if you don't know exactly where it is just south of Horsethief. Daryl here actually is the one that dug it open here, so. Yeah, so Daryl's saying here, they think it's about 1,000 feet, possibly about 1,000 feet in between Horsethief and Titan. So, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it's like this Leaning Tower of Pisa, and just some of the photos he was sending me was just like, whoa. So that's kind of one of the big announcements that we had, is that we just got that permit for Titan. And I believe that is all I have. So thank you very much.